Hi guys, we've got what is hopefully your last Tuesday workout video before we can get everyone back in the gym. So the plan for this session is that it's going to be a 35-minute EMOM, so it's a fairly long workout, and it's essentially 7 rounds with 5 stations in each. So remember, with the every minute on the minute format, that means you've got a minute to complete each section. If you get it done before then, you rest a little bit, and really, you should be getting it done before each time. You shouldn't be running right up to it. So you've got a 5-minute round each time, and we're going to go through that 7 times. There's a few exercises in there that are single arm or single leg, so you see that all the reps in there are 12 to 20. So if any of them are single arm or single leg, we're looking for 6 to 10 on each side. I would make note, particularly with the hang clean and jerks and the single arm overhead lunges that are in there, we want them set up so that you can get them done probably within 45 to 50 seconds of your minute. We don't really want you running beyond that to the point where you're not really getting any rest, because you can imagine over the course of 35 minutes, if you're not really getting any rest on a few of the stations, it's going to start to tire you out pretty quickly, and we just want to make sure that you can be consistent for the whole workout. So in terms of the actual exercises themselves, you've got the single arm hang clean and jerk. So you might have a dumbbell handy, you might have a kettlebell handy. What we're looking for them is to get you down into a sort of deadlifted type position, where you come to here, and we're trying you up into this position, and then we're going overhead basically for the next part. So it could be a push press like that, or it could be a push jerk, and then you're going to come back down, up to your shoulders, up to overhead again, like that. So it'll be 6 to 10 on each side, and you can alternate arms, or you can do what I've just done there and do all your reps on one side, all your reps on the other, completely up to you. But remember, the hang aspect means you don't have to go all the way to the floor. Remember, technique-wise, with a hang clean, particularly with a dumbbell, we're looking to try and get you into a position where you've pushed your bum back a little bit and your shoulders are coming down towards the floor. We don't want you really upright when you're doing these and swinging it out in front. We want to see if we can get into this sort of position, drive the dumbbell up towards you, just like if you're using a bar. And these could be a really nice way of practicing before we get you guys back on the bars when you're back in the gym. You've got the single leg V-sits after that. And the main challenge on them will just be getting as much range of movement as you can. Remember that we want lots of that movement to come from the middle of the body. So if I'm set up in my hollow position and I'm coming up into my V-sit, I'm trying to crunch into this top position, keep my leg as straight as I can. If it bends a little bit, that's not a problem, but we want to try and keep it straight as we can. And I'm back down, same on the other leg, and I'm trying to get into that tuck position so I can use my abs. I'm not just driving shoulders and legs together like that, but I'm trying to use the middle of my body. That could be scaled to a single leg tuck up, so I could just come up into that sort of position there, so I don't have to worry quite as much about the straight leg position, and you can see I can get much higher into that position at the top if I do it that way. And you could also just scale it down to a sit-up if you were really struggling with either of them. Still a great way of working your abs, and it's the same basic movement that we're trying to get you into that tuck position at the top of each rep. So again, it's just choosing something that's going to be challenging, but still that you can get done within the minute format each time. Single arm overhead lunges, again there's a bit of a technique to these. We want to make sure that as much as possible the weight is right above you. So if I'm stepping into that lunge and I get to here, I've got the weight directly above me. There's a straight line from the dumbbell down to this knee here, so that it's nice and easy to support. If I start to tip forward a lot, you're going to find that dumbbell comes forward, and that's going to make it much harder to support. So we're trying to find that position like that. You could potentially do it as a reverse lunge if you wanted to, but I would say probably go forward on them. In terms of scaling, depending on how hard or easy they are for you, if you really struggle with the overhead position, you could always bring it down and do it in a rack position here, could do it in a goblet position, or really simply, you could just do it with a dumbbell by your side. They would all make it much easier then to get into that lunge position, and you wouldn't have to worry quite so much about stabilising the weight above your head. Remember, with that being single arm, and it's 12 to 20 or 6 to 10 each side, I would do 6 on this side, like that. So I'd alternate my legs. On this side, I'd get 6 done. On that side, then I would swap hands after 6, and then I'd go back onto the other side. That's how I'd alternate that. You've got the glute bridges in the 4th minute here. We've been doing lots and lots of these over the last few months, so I imagine most people are pretty comfortable with them. if that's the case, you get a little bit of weight into them. So we want to set you up on your back, dumbbell or kettlebell set up on your hips, and we're just trying to push your hips up to the ceiling and back down like that, and we just hold the weight in place as you do that. And we're looking for your torso to stay stable to do that. So I'm not going to arch my back into that position where my belly's popping up, and I'm not going to stay tucked under like that. I'm just trying to get the hips to raise up and my core to stay in the same position. If you struggle with them at all, you can always do them without any weight as well. That's not compulsory that they're weighted, it's just making sure that they're challenging given the number of reps that are in there. The hollow holds, we want you to scale them to any variation where you're able to maintain what I'm about to talk about for 30 seconds. So try and think of that part as the non-negotiable aspect. We want you to be able to hold that no matter what. So that hollow hold position, we could build it up from the bottom. So the very base thing that we're looking for is that if I'm laid on my back like this, knees bent, can I pull myself using my abs into this position where just this bottom part of my back is touching the floor and my shoulders are raised up off the floor. So essentially we're trying to keep this top part of your body off the floor by using your abs to pull you into there. You can make that a little bit harder. You can put the arms above the head and do the same thing, same idea, just a little bit harder. And then we could also start to bring the arms into play a little bit if we wanted, the legs into play a little bit if we wanted to, and put you in a full hollow body position. So we can set you up like this. This is going to be harder, but we're looking for the same things. We're trying to keep the top portion of your back off the floor when you're doing those. That's the key thing that we're looking for, and that's what you need to think about when you're choosing your scaling options. There are other variations as well. You could potentially do it with your knees tucked, so your feet aren't on the floor, but your knees are tucked. So you set up like this, hands up by the side. I'm still working to keep the top part of my shoulders off the floor. Could go arms up to make it a little bit harder. So you've got a good few variations to play with on them. But remember that the key goal is that you stay in that top position. So just this bottom third of your back is touching the floor. We don't want your shoulders touching the floor. In terms of a warm-up, I've written this up. So, quick run through, walk through, that'd be a good idea, of what's on there. We've got walkout, so that's just a normal walkout, straight legs on the way down, into your press-up position, back to standing. The walkout rotation, same idea. You come out, into here, out to one side, out to the other, and then back up to standing. Squat walkout, down into your squat, into your walkout, believe it or not, and then back up on straight legs, like that. Your bridge holds, I've put 15 of them. The sequence that we're looking for there is to take you up into double leg bridge, and then it's going to be, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, like that. So we're looking to just take you around and get those holds in there. So initially I'm holding on 2, holding on my right, holding on my left, back to 2, and there shouldn't really be any drop in the height of my hips as I'm going from double to single. So we're just trying to get your bum muscles working as you do that. The dumbbell, I've put H2OH there, that's not some exciting new gas that I've created. All we're looking for with that is take the dumbbell in 2 hands, come down to maybe knee height like that, and then up to overhead. If you've got a kettlebell, you could do something similar, just holding it on the one side and just getting it up to above your head like that. If you've got a particularly heavy weight, you could always just do a few deadlifts like that, and then a few push presses like that if you want to. The overhead split squat, I think we've done a few weeks ago. That's practicing the position for the single arm lunges. So we get you locked out above your head, we step you into your lunge position, but you keep your feet stable. I come down into the bottom to see if I can stay nice and upright. I come back up to standing, but I keep my feet where they are. So I'm moving like that. And it's just to give you a little bit of practice of how do I get into that upright position where the weight is set up directly above me. That's the main thing that we're looking for on there. Once you've gone through all that, you should feel fairly warm. You could potentially have a play around with weights if you've got a choice of weights and see what's going to be appropriate. It might be worth thinking about what you're going to do for the hollow hold as well, so that you're not trying to decide as you come into the first round. If you want any more specific advice than anything I've gone over as part of the video, please just get in touch with me, get in touch with one of the other coaches, and we can give you some more sort of specific direction. But try and have a really good week of training. Like I say, hopefully you'll be back in the gym fairly soon, then you can really ramp things up and get stuck in. But hopefully I'll see everyone soon.